All right. We got my vest, wading boots, waders, my rod, my net. So in this episode, we're gonna be talking about my first time trying to fly fish. I'm Van, and this is Dog Cat. Caught you. Oh, yeah. No. This is wet. I'm gonna get wet back from sitting here. So I meant to make this video like weeks ago when I first released my Colorado videos, because that's when I actually fly fished and it was fresh on my mind. But you know, time goes quickly and here we are. And I almost didn't make this video, but I figured, well, I spent the money on getting all this stuff. I spent a ton of time filming it all, so I might as well make something of it, even if only like 5 people are gonna watch it. So for the few of you who follow the channel, you might know that during the summer, I kinda got into fishing, and it was one of those things that I thought, oh, I can kinda do it inexpensively. It's a good little sport to do, socially distanced. And so I did it for a bit, and then fast forward a few weeks, I found myself in Colorado, and while I was there, I figured might as well try to do this fly fishing thing because I'd never done it before, and I've always wanted to give it a shot. So I started doing my research online to get an idea of how it all works. Turns out there's a ton of videos out there where they'll teach you how to cast, what kind of flies you need, rod, and what kind of reel, and what kind of line. They cover everything. But I knew if I was going to learn how to fly fish, I would actually have to have somebody in person show me how to do it. Luckily, my buddy Kyle, who was letting me park in his driveway in Colorado, had some friends who'd fly fished. So we picked a day, drove out to Fort Collins, and got a crash course on fly fishing. So fly fishing is one of those things that takes tons of time and practice to get good at. And me, after watching a whole bunch of videos online, I thought I was gonna stroll up and just be a natural at it. Well, that wasn't the case. Shit. I spent my day learning how to pick flies and, you know, cast properly, and then mend my line and drift it, and then cast and mend and drift. Honestly, I probably spent most of my time just untangling my line.
I don't know, I think it's an invasive species though.
I didn't catch anything, but I didn't really expect to. I guess I caught a few branches. Nope, and a dog.
Oh, got a dog.
Oh. I know.
Good boy. But slowly, I started to get the hang of timing and, you know, how to naturally present my fly. And like I said, there's a ton of great videos out there from channels like Mad River Outfitters and Orvis that'll show you exactly how to cast and do everything properly. And because I'm not the best person to be showing you what to do, I'm still pretty terrible at it. The whole time I'm like, I'm not breaking my wrist, I'm not breaking my wrist, I'm doing great. But the whole time I'm breaking my wrist the entire time. All I'm doing is casting with my wrist. I mean, a few weeks ago after I got back to Indiana, I did try to go out with some streamers and like try to bass fish and show how to cast, and it just didn't pan out. Start with your tip low, and then back, over. Oh yeah, this is way too heavy. Oh my God. Yeah, this was a terrible decision. So you can retrieve in a figure 8, which I'm not good at clearly. Look, I caught a branch. You're doing a back and a forward cast. What is this called? Loading your line when you do that. Sending some line out. I snagged something. What did I snag? No, come on, this is such an expensive fly. All right, try again. And I snagged that tree really good. So, I'm not too great at this. I'm a little disappointed in how bad I'm demonstrating this. No. Go. Am I recording that whole time? Oh my God. I had to switch to this type of fly. Okay, let's try that one. Oh no, they ran all over my line. God. No. Better. Oh, way better. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Forward, not aiming down, and then shooting my line. Look, I caught a leaf. Check it out. Okay, so I had my fly fishing crash course done. We had a trip planned for the following weekend to go to this little fly fishing community and stay in a cabin. So that meant I had to get my own gear. So Kyle and I went to this fly shop that was near his place, and when we got in there, I said, hey, you know, I've got like 200, 250 bucks. I'm new to this. What can I get to get started in it? And he was just like, yeah, we could probably get you going around that price. And then the guy behind the counter actually laughed. So I got the hint that my budget of 250 might not be enough.
We're just, we're picking out some terrestrials.
Okay.
That's all we're doing right here. So something with a lot of foam, a lot of synthetic on it, something that floats high. We fish that guy quite a bit here in Colorado. But stoneflies are in just about every river here in Colorado, so.
A dude there walked me through some flies to get. He also set me up with some leader and tippet, and then he got me some indicators, which are just bobbers, basically. And some split shot, which is like a weight that you put on your line to drop your flies if you need to. And then some floating. Oh, and I bought a fly case while I was there, which I should have bought off eBay because I ended up leaving that place spending like $124. I still didn't have a fly rod set up, I didn't have waders, and I didn't have wading boots. To keep things simple and affordable, I just went online and bought this rod and reel combo. It's from Wade Rod Co. and it was 150 bucks. It's a 4-piece, 5-weight, 9-foot rod, and because when you buy those combos, they come with a rod, reel, and then the reel is already spooled with backing, line, and a little leader on it. I will say having a rod that can pack down to this little size is super nice when living in a van because it's not as easy to store my other like 6- and 7-foot rods. Then I hopped on Amazon and I got some waders, and these are by Hodgman. I think they were discontinued, and because they were size small, I got them for 43 bucks. And these are nice. Like, they come with the little like neoprene booties. 43 bucks, man, that's a steal. So then I went on eBay and I snagged these Hodgman used wading boots, felt bottom, and because they're used, they do have a funky smell to them. But I got these for 49 bucks. They go right over these neoprene booties that are on these. So Hodgman wading boots, Hodgman waders, and then this is just like a Reddington vest that I snagged later. I didn't have this while I was in Colorado. Finally, I snagged a little tool set off Amazon for 20 bucks. It came with some tippet holders, some forceps, some snips that have one of those like quick knot tie tools on it, a retractor, and then a leader straightener, which I never use. Oh, and I had to buy an out-of-state 5-day fishing license, which cost me $36. That put me at a grand total of $422, which was quite a bit over my original $250 budget. So I was all geared up and ready to go on our trip. We loaded the van up with all the pets, Julie, Kyle, and I, and we headed to this little fly fishing community called Sportsman's Paradise.
Cool.
I'll crack the door, and if you want to come out, that's what I thought. So we drove about 2 hours from Denver, like southeast, to a place called Lake George, and we're here to do some fly fishing and also some climbing. Ow, dude, this sucks. I hate holding my arm up like this. Hopefully we can catch a fish, a trout. There's supposed to be some decent sized trout out here. It's a nice little spot though, for sure. I guess I could show the cabin. Come on, Rock, let's go. Now we didn't just go out there to fly fish, we also went and did some climbing, and so we only had a set amount of time to actually do some fishing. And so the first time we actually went out was later in the evening, and the only other person who wanted to go fishing with me was Julie. And so we geared up and went out. So what I watched is that you go and you like pull a rock to see what's in the water. And so you see this little bug on me here? So I'm gonna try to find a fly that matches that. I don't think I have any. Look at how tiny this fly is. The size of a booger. I had
A small booger.
bigger boogers. Yeah. I lubed my knot.
There you go. All right, you're
Do I
right.
look real?
You look like the $500 version.
I got waterproof pants. We really just spent the whole time casting and tying flies on. You know, we didn't have much luck. With it being my first time doing it by myself, I didn't have high hopes. I knew it was just gonna be a lot of practicing. And the water was a lot shallower, so I was trying to figure out the best depth to set my flies at, because for a while I was just snagging every second, you know. Boom, snags, boom, snag. First I was like, ooh, I'm getting bites. But it was just snagging on the ground and I was pulling up seaweed and sticks.
Pose for the camera.
Got her right in the lip.
But because we got out there so late, it wasn't long before the sun was starting to go away, and so we just had to call it quits. So, I got a bug on me. We didn't catch anything. I just can't see anything right now. There are some fish feeding and jumping up and down, but we're calling it a night, and it's cold. It got really cold. I got all the way up to my groin down there. That was pretty cool. That was the best part. All right. And so the next day we got up and we tried to go out again, but we didn't expect it to be so cold. A cold front had come through and it was like 40 degrees out. And usually that means the fish are gonna go deeper. They're not gonna wanna like come up. So we spent a good portion of our time just like exploring the area, trying to find good spots. I don't see anything swimming. So we're back out today. It's also in the 40s, which is way different than it was yesterday. But we found one spot we're gonna try. We're gonna probably freeze to death. It's our last day out here. We'll see if we get anything or if we just get too cold and have to call it quits. Yeah, we're gonna wait out, freeze our asses off, and catch some seaweed. I, like a dummy, didn't bring batteries. I had swapped the packs I had, and I took like a vest, a fly fishing vest that was in the cabin, and put all my stuff in there and forgot the batteries. I was only able to film a little bit, you know. I put the GoPro on my chest with that vest, which was a terrible decision, because all you see is like the vest coming over it. I filmed what I could. We didn't really have any luck anyways, you know. We just spent the whole day finding spots and casting. We did find a cool like deep pocket area, and there was another guy there who was like, we usually fish here and we were always pulling them out. Like, this is like the hot spot right here, and for some reason they're not biting today. And I was like, oh well, that kind of makes me feel a little better. Like it's not just us. The sun's out now. I've got like 24% battery life left on this, and I think 5 on the GoPro. And probably won't be able to film much more, but we haven't caught anything, so it's not a big deal. Yet. Okay, so we were just out there for
5 hours.
5 hours. I got one bite, and Julie caught a
Brown trout?
Yeah, what was it? Like a 10-inch brown trout, and she was super excited, and then she just threw it.
Dropped
and let
it.
Go. So we didn't.
We have
film
no
it.
evidence that we got any fish at all.
That was on our spinning reel, so fly-wise, we didn't have any luck. So I'm hoping when we go back into Denver, I can find a spot and at least catch one fish before I leave. But yep, now we're gonna pack up and we're gonna head out. So once we got back to Denver, I knew I had to find a place to actually catch a fish. And I didn't know the area well, but Kyle had suggested I go check out a place called Waterton Canyon. It's a large canyon with a 6-mile trail that goes all along the South Platte River up to a dam. So he let me borrow a bike so I could get up the trail quickly, and then I took his truck and I headed out. And I left the van behind because I knew I was going to be fishing for several hours, and I didn't want to leave the pets stuck in the van in a parking lot I didn't know about. Plus, there was no pets allowed in the canyon itself because they have bighorn sheep there. And long story short, I got there, I found the path, I rode the bike up there, and I did it in the waders with the wading boots on and a backpack full of film equipment and all my fishing gear. And so I got winded super quickly. I've ridden about 1 mile out of 6, and I'm already tired. I finally found a spot where I was seeing some fish rise to the top of the water to feed, and nobody else was there. So I was like, ooh, this is perfect. I'm gonna stop and go down there. I made it to a decent spot, so I'm gonna set up and see if I can get some bites. It looks real promising. I can see the fish. It was crazy. Like, I was able to go stand out in the water and the fish were just like right below me. You could see all of the fish around you. I did cast out a few times, but then on like my third cast, I got a bite. No way. No way. I don't have a net or anything. I'm gonna have to bring him back to shore. Oh my God. I just had to grab him with my hands, and eventually I snagged it, but then when I did, I saw that I didn't hook him properly. It was a foul hook, and I had got him kind of right on his little fin there, almost like his armpit. And that was a bit of a bummer. That was the first trout I'd ever caught, so it was still pretty exciting, but because it was a foul hook, I really wanted to continue and try to get a better one. And so I did. I stayed there for another couple hours casting, trying different flies. And you know, I did hook a few. Like, I kept getting them on the line, but then as I'd bring them in, they'd pop off. I got one. Oh, he got off. Oh no, lost it. What a bummer. My hook sets are bad. And eventually I just had to call it. It got to the point where the sun was just directly beating down and reflecting right into my eyes. I just couldn't see where my flies were, where my line was going, and I was just hungry and done with it. So I took off, and I knew that because all I had caught was off of a foul hook, I would really need to go back and try again. So since I had caught a fish, but it didn't really count, I knew I had to go back out and catch one properly before I left Denver. But this time I wanted to go get a couple more flies. So I went to another fly shop, snagged a few that the guy had recommended to me. And then I also bought a net because bringing in that fish was a lot more difficult than I expected. I just got this off Amazon, didn't spend much money on it because these things can get super expensive. And I went back out. I went back up to the same spot. This time I rode all 6 miles up to the dam. Took me like an hour and something to get all the way up those 6 miles. And then I started to work my way down. Immediately I found a really cool spot where it was kind of like a deep pocketed area right behind a boulder. I pulled the bike off, got my stuff out, tied up some flies.
So a good way to not lose your flies is to just hook them into your finger.
This time, you know, the guys had recommended to me to try and use the Parachute Adams was one of them, the elk hair caddis, and zebra midge. Those were the three that they were like, you probably will have a better chance of getting something with, you know. And so I went to that spot and immediately I cast it in and got a bite.
No way, I got bit already.
And so that was promising. I was like, okay, there's fish here. And so I just waited around and waited around and waited around and tried these different positions. I spent a long time doing it, and actually I did get lucky. I cast it out to this one spot and I snagged a little guy, a little trout. He couldn't have been bigger than like 4 inches. He was actually so small, he could slip through my fishing net.
Look at that little baby trout. He's so tiny.
I hooked him properly and actually caught him, but I just felt like, ooh,
There he goes.
this isn't quite what I was hoping for. I kept going in that spot because I was having a little bit of luck, and I did hook another big one, a big trout, and he leaped out of the water.
Yes.
And came down, and as I was bringing him in, he spit it.
And he spit it out. Dude.
So, you know, after a little bit more time, I packed up and went to the next spot. And I fiddled around there and I just kept catching seaweed. The water was a bit too fast for that spot. And so I kept going, went to a different spot.
Third location.
And it was like a slower moving water. A lot of rocks and riffles there in a spot. And so I cast it out and I did get a bite, but it was when I was like trying to fix my line on my rod. And it just like, my flies were just in the water and a little guy came up and tried to get it.
Whoa. got a bite.
So yeah, I just kept working my way down and eventually I ended up back at that same spot I was at the last time I was there. The fish were again rising up and eating off the top of the water. So I said, okay, you know, I'm here, let's give this spot another go. And I was about to give up and I was like, you know what? Let's give it a couple more casts, come on. And so I casted it out like twice and I got a bite.
Oh, there it is. Oh, come on. Tire yourself up. Stop, 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 stop. Stop, 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 stop. Look, I did it. I got one.
And to my joy, I had actually hooked it properly right at the bottom of its lip. So I had done it. I had caught a trout, a decent sized trout properly. And I filmed it, so I had proof.
That feels good. All right, I'm calling it quits.
So yeah, I finally caught a decent sized fish without a foul hook and did it myself. And that was an awesome feeling. I had a blast with fly fishing. Even though it kind of costs quite a bit to get all the stuff that I have now, I think it was well worth it. And I would say if you haven't done it yet, you should definitely try it. It's a ton of fun. And if you're not into fishing, like, you could still go out and stand in a river, even if you don't have waders. You know, you're in nature, it's like being part of it almost. When you're standing in the middle of a stream or a river and you have the water rushing past you, it's a way different experience compared to just like going and hiking on a trail. Rock. Now I know this video wasn't van specific. It was about fly fishing, but it does kind of all come from the whole van thing. I wouldn't be able to just pick up and leave and go stay in Colorado for a full month to go try to fly fish if it weren't for living in the van. It's enabled me to not have to work a 9-to-5 job and kind of make my own schedule. And so I was able to go and really experience and learn how to do it and not be constrained to this like quick little weekend trip because I have to get back to work. So yeah. I guess that's a way to tie it in. Okay, that's it. I appreciate everybody who's like sat through and watched this. I hope it was somewhat entertaining or you got a little bit of joy out of it. But it is super cold out here. If you guys aren't already or you want to support the channel, make sure to hop on Patreon or grab some merchandise. That's it. I guess until next time. Now I gotta pack all this stuff up and get these doors shut and turn the heat back on. Quit eating those rocks. So what he's doing right now is he's looking for squirrels. Is that a squirrel? Oh, what's that? They're like going crazy outside now, storing up for the winter. Some big fat ones. Nope, Archer's out there. What's he doing? Ooh, okay, come on, we gotta cut. All right.